In this video, I'll introduce you to XamDateTimeEditor, one of the editor controls in NetAdvantage for WPF line of business. So let's start with a simple example here. And many of your applications, you're going to see screens where you ask the user for input. And in some cases, that's invariably dates. So let's take a look at how you can use the XamDateTimeEditor to achieve a variety of different functionality and appearance configurations that allow you to fully meet the requirements of the different scenarios you're building. So I've built an example here to show you two appearances you can use with the XamDateTimeEditor. So first one, I've set a mask allowing the user to edit value showing a date and time. So I just correct that slightly. So this particular XamDateTimeEditor also allows the user to drop down a calendar control and to select from a calendar the date that will be used. On the other hand, the XamDateTimeEditor below it is only set up to enter a date. And of course, you can control these masks, and we will take a look at how that is done in a minute. But the interesting thing about this XamDateTimeEditor is that instead of using a calendar drop-down control, it uses spin buttons for adjusting the date. So let's say I enter a date here, and you would typically use this scenario when a user only needs to make very small changes to a date, and they would like to do so quickly without leaving the control, without excessive movement of the mouse, using these spin buttons. So the way I can do this is by clicking, for example, the month here, using the spin buttons. I can adjust that without opening the calendar the way I would need to do here, or the way I would need to click inside and enter 7. So let's take a look at how these two controls are configured, allowing us to achieve this kind of functionality. So the key properties to look at in this case are the allow drop-down property. This basically specifies whether a drop-down button appears at all in the control, since if we are not allowing the user to drop down a calendar control, no button would be rendered at all. Another important property in this case is the spin button display mode property. In this case, and by default, it's set to never. However, in the second control just below it, we've set the spin button display mode to always, and we've also set the allow drop down to false. So no drop down is visible in this second control because this allow drop down property has been set to false. If we'd like to enable both spin buttons and the drop down, that's quite all right. We can do so and offer users the ability to type a date, the ability to use the spin buttons to modify a date, and to also drop down a calendar to allow them to select a date from that control instead. The key property in the XamDateTimeEditor is the mask property, because it specifies the format in which the XamDateTimeEditor expects to receive input from the user. In this case, I've set it to simple date, and this date will follow the locale of the machine that is running your application to validate this date. On the top control, however, I've used the date and time to allow the user to enter both a date and a time. Using the mask property, you can achieve a variety of different formattings and behaviors. For example, I can change the mask to take month and year values as follows. And now running my application will enable the user to only select valid months. For example, this is 11th, that's November 1998, and I cannot enter 14. Actually, the editor prevents me from doing that, or 99, for example. And also, when I use the drop-down as well, it only shows months, as in I cannot select among dates because the month would be entered anyway. So you can see how the calendar control in this case adapts to the mask that we've chosen in the XamDateTimeEditor, allowing your user a quicker way to select the month when required. So these are just two very simple examples showing you the flexibility in the XamDateTimeEditor to conform to the requirements of your applications.
Infragistics. On the web at infragistics.com.